Hello. In this video, I want to first just kind of introduce you to AI and then specifically show you how you could use AI to do something that's called a generative textbook, which I think you might find interesting for yourself personally, but it's also something that you might be able to use with your students. So let's have a look. I'm going to share screen so you can see some of these key ideas. So the first thing you need to know is which GPT you should use. And the one that I really don't want you to use might be the one that you've been using, and that is the original ChatGPT. It's what's called version 3.5. And ChatGPT, it's a company name, it's a trade name. It's not the word for all of these. The word for all of these would be just GPT. So anyway, ChatGPT, the original, bad, really bad. It's outdated, it's biased, it hallucinates, which means it just makes up a lot of stuff. And it has an odd tone when it writes. Do not bother with it. Do not use it anymore. And if you would, tell everyone you know not to use it anymore. There are new models that are 4.0 models, and they are literally 10 times more advanced. It's the difference between having an unreliable assistant who is a high school sophomore and an unreliable assistant who is a graduate student, maybe a PhD student. Either way, they're going to be kind of unreliable, just a little bit. But these 4.0 models are so much better. There's one that a lot of people love, and I love it too, that's called Claude AI. And that's one that I'm kind of not recommending because it costs $20 a month. Now, if you are using AI a lot and you're just really into it, it's worth the money. But I think if you're still kind of getting started, that there are equally good versions that you can get for free. And so let's look at those. So there are three of them. And I would recommend probably using at least two, if not all three of them, because some are going to be better for one thing, some for another. It's just kind of, I think you'll enjoy it more if you kind of play around with different ones. So the first one that I recommend most highly is Microsoft Copilot, which used to be called Bing Chat. I like it because it's free. It cites its sources. And the most important thing, the reason it's at the top of my list, is because if you log in with your Bobcat email, Georgia College will provide privacy protection for you. And you'll see it'll say privacy protected. It'll be the Georgia College logo. That's the thing that I like best about this one. My second highest rated would be the new one from OpenAI. OpenAI is who did the original ChatGPT, but now they have what's called GPT-4o. It's little o, not the number 0. Weird. But I think it's actually a little better than Microsoft Copilot, but it doesn't have the privacy protection. I'm not sure how much the privacy protection matters. If you're using like TikTok, way worse than any of these. But this GPT-4o is, for now, free. I bet it's going to be free for several months at least. It's also connected to the internet. It cites its sources. It's really good. It's the best of the best at the moment. If you use it for a long period of time, like if you're prompting it a whole lot, you'll see at the top, it'll switch back to the 3.5 version. So it's kind of limited in how much you can use it in an hour, say, or over a period. So I also pay for this one because then I can use it as much as I want and it never reverts to the bad 3.0 version or 3.5 version. And then the third one that I would recommend is Gemini. It's the one from Google. It's very good. It's free for 2 months, and then you have to start paying for it. So you'd have to maybe pay attention, make sure they don't keep charging you after the 2-month period. When I do something that's a free trial like this, I always make sure to go into my calendar and put a little reminder myself, like, remember to cancel this if you don't still love it. So those are the ones that I would recommend. And again, it doesn't hurt to have 2 or even 3 of them and just play. I also wanted to recommend an AI search engine. It's called Perplexity AI, and it's great for answering questions. It's not that great at generating things. The ones I just told you about are good for like creating things. Perplexity AI is more of a search engine, but I would say just use it for a week in place of your regular Google searches and just see what you think. I feel like the Google search is better if you're looking for specific websites, and Perplexity is better if what you're really doing is asking a question. Okay, so now you know which GPT to use. Now you need a prompt. A great prompt is essential, because imagine if I just said to you, write me a lesson plan. You couldn't, like, you don't know, if you're writing it for me, you don't know what level students I'm working with, what topic we're addressing this week, what their needs are. You got nothing. You can't. You need to give it context and specifics. And that is true with GPT as well. Again, you have to imagine it, it's an assistant, and you're asking it to do something, asking your assistant to do something. So I always try to kind of run through my head, or the who, what, when, where, how, and why. What is it that I want? What is the criteria for quality that I'm looking for? And so forth. So I said you need a prompt. Your prompt for today is going to be a prompt that is going to have AI create a generative textbook for you. What is that? Well, a regular textbook, like, I don't know, I must have, I don't really have textbooks, but here's a book. Like if I asked you all to read a chapter in this book, it would not be personalized to you, right? Like all of you would be looking at the exact same thing. It wouldn't be interactive. Like you couldn't kind of talk back and forth with the book. And of course, the book can't provide any feedback for you, like, yeah, you seem to be getting this, or I'm worried you're not getting this. But a generative textbook in AI does all of those things. It personalizes the learning to you. In this case, you're going to tell it, like, I teach grades blank through blank, and this is the subject I teach, and it's going to personalize itself to that. It's going to be interactive. It's going to ask you if you want more information. It's going to ask you questions, and it's going to, when it does ask you questions and you answer, it's going to provide feedback for you. Pretty amazing. So here's the prompt. I'm putting a link to this in your D2L module, so you'll be able to find it there. And when you use this, you're literally just going to cut it, copy it and paste it into one of the AIs. And before you click enter, you have to change this part right here that's in boldface. So you might say, like, I teach music or band to middle school students, something like that. So watch me do it. I'm going to end show for a minute. And I'm going to copy this sucker. And then I'm going to go into, I'm going to start with, I'll start with Copilot. Here's Copilot, copilot.microsoft.com. You'll see that it tells me I'm protected. Sometimes it just has one little Georgia College thing, but some days it's just a whole banner of them. And you'll see if I scroll down, you need to scroll. There's this box where you put your prompt. This is a weird thing about Copilot, and that is it gives you 3 choices: creative, balanced, precise. Do not use balance. It is not good. Creative is usually the best one. Sometimes you might find that you like precise a little bit more, but I generally stick with creative for most things. So you saw that I copied the prompt. Now I'm just going to paste it. And remember, I said you have to change this part. So I'm going to say, I teach band to middle school age students. Okay, now I've made my fix, and I'm going to click enter. And it's going to start going. It's going to start teaching me about what I asked it to teach about. Okay. So let's try the same, but this time I'm going to go to openai.com and we're going to use the GPT-4o. I don't know. I just have a lot of things that I want to say to these companies that I think would make them better. But the thing that you need to remember when you get here is they want to tell you all about their new GPT. It really is fascinating. You might want to come back and look at some of this stuff, but you have to scroll all the way to the bottom to be able to actually try it. So try. And it already knows me. When you click try, I think you're probably going to have to, create an account. And why it's not coming up here is server error. Okay, well, I'm just going to close out and try again. I suspect a lot of people are using it right now. On this one, every time you want to start a whole fresh thing, which you won't want to do today, you click up here to start a new thread. But I've got a thread just waiting for me here. I'm going to paste in, just like I did in the other GPT. I'm going to make the change I need to. I teach Forest to high school age students. And then I'm going to click go. And it's interesting because it is not going to do the same thing. Every single time, if I kept putting that same prompt over and over and over, what it would do would be somewhat different or even completely different every time. Isn't that wild? Yeah. So let's take a moment, go back to the PowerPoint. So this is really important. What are the goals for this thing that I'm asking you to do? Well, first, I want you to know that giving the AI the prompt, like I just did, could work flawlessly. It could. Sometimes it does. It's a very complicated prompt, though, so it probably won't work perfectly. And that's sort of the point here. The main goal is for you to get some practice using AI and working with it to get it to do what you want. The secondary goal, and if this only kind of happens, that is fine, is to learn about key ideas on learning how to learn. We're going to follow up with some more on this tomorrow. I have another class that's working on videos that go with this topic, and I'll share some of those with you all if you want to use them with your students. So focus more on the idea of playing with AI and make it your secondary goal to actually learn. I do hope you learn, but if you don't learn a whole lot, that's okay. So when it goes wrong, and again, I'm telling you it probably will because it's such a complex prompt, here are some things you could try. For example, you could tell the GPT, that isn't right. Remember how I told you we were going to do this in rounds, or wait until I answer before you tell me, things like that. So you can tell it what it did wrong, and it usually will be embarrassed and redo it. You can just kind of imagine, again, that the GPT is an assistant. What would you say to an assistant who made the mistake that the GPT just did? Whatever you would say to that assistant, just say it to the GPT and see what happens. If it seems like it's just really off, you could start a new thread, be like, let's start over. Forget what I just said and let's try again. Just put in the prompt again, make the changes you need to, what grade level you teach, and go again. Or switch to a different GPT. If you were using Copilot, switch to Gemini or switch to GPT-4o. All those are good possibilities. All right. I hope you're ready to start. I'm excited for you. Um, have fun with it. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing I really want you to hear is have fun with it.